Mobster Chronicles breaking news.
Welcome to Mobster Chronicles. It's time once again to slap down YouTube's biggest mob dweeb and mafia wannabe, Alan Gunnar Lindbloom. Gummy recently did an interview on a UK-based YouTube channel called Anything Goes with James English, where he rehashes the usual lies and tells his usual mafia fairy tales, which we have already proven over and over again, are complete bullshit. Gummer thought that he could try his lying comedy routine on another continent, since we've completely exposed him here in the US. But the Brits are smart, and can tell true bullshit when they hear it, so they mercilessly roasted him in the comments section. And English got his balls busted too for having this liar on his channel to begin with, and damaging his credibility.
James English is the GOAT. This is the worst podcast he's done. The guy was full of shit he was interviewing. Probably told the truth once on Full Thing.
Sort it out, James. You got a nice little number and a loyal following. Don't ruin it for yourself.
This guy has been shown as a proven liar, an exaggerator on mafia channels in the US. James, you're better off taking this down, as you will lose lots of credit. A lot of the stuff he says has been researched and proven to be crap.
12 minutes in. I cannot listen to this guy, got a headache. Talks too fast. Jumping all over the place and sounds like a con, and full of BS. Kind of disappointed in you, James, that you would give this guy airtime. Sorry, my opinion.
Mate, this is brutal. Get better truthful guests.
What a load of crap. Honestly, if you can't see this guy is talking shite, you need a doctor. Sorry, James, but what you doing with this idiot on your podcast? He should not get it. It's like he's reading from a script, for fuck's sake.
We sent an email to Mr. English, warning him that Gummer is a pathological liar with zero affiliation to the Detroit mob, is completely full of shit and a notorious fraud and scam artist. James English ignored our warning and platformed Lindbloom anyway, so he now joins the list of rat and fraud promoting YouTube jackasses like Vlad TV, Patrick Bet David, Johnny Mitchell and Tom LaVecchia, to name a few, and is just another greedy carnival barker, shilling for the clowns and rats and liars on YouTube just to get clicks and views. So without further delay, let's all go watch Gummy completely embarrass himself once again.
I recently did James English's show. Go check it out. James English, Anything Goes. Great guy from the UK, big podcaster. Flew me out to New York. We sat down and he interviewed me. And I pretty much told a lot of stories that I've told before. But figured there's going to be some people from James English's show who will come to my channel and look around and say, who's this guy's deal? Plus, if they read some of the comments where they're all going, he's a liar, he's scamming, lying. I'm like,
it's embarrassing for them. Like, someone would actually lament on another man's life to the degree that they would troll every single comment so they can post some dumbass shit.
Once upon a time, my grandfather's cousin was the boss of the Detroit mob.
and I went and moved in with my grandparents, Grandma and Grandpa Toko, in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, kind of a rich city, right outside Detroit. I'm surrounded by mafia. My grandfather was Peter Paul Toko. His cousin was Giacomo Toko.
Stunod, it's not Giacomo, it's Giacomo.
The boss of Detroit Mafia, the boss. And they grew up together. They lived in the same neighborhood their whole life. My grandfather was Peter Paul Toko. His cousin was Jack Toko, who's the boss of the Mafia. They lived 3 blocks away. They were about the same age. They grew up together, went to school together, did everything.
This stupid asshole is not related to reputed Detroit boss Jack Toko and never met him. So here we go. Gummer's grandfather Peter Paul Toko was born in St. Louis, Missouri in 1915, as evidenced by this transcript of the 1920 U.S. Census. Jack Toko was born in Detroit, Michigan in 1926, as shown here in the 1930 census. This 1930 census record shows Peter Paul Toko was living in Detroit in 1930, and was 15 years old. This is the 1940 census record showing Peter Paul Toko living at the same address as he did in 1930 and was 25 years old. Here we see a 13-year-old Jack Toko was living in Miami Beach, Florida in 1940, where his father William, the longtime underboss of the Detroit mob, had been residing during the winter months since the mid-1930s, up until his death in 1972. And finally, here is a map showing where Gummer's grandfather and Jack Toko both lived since the late 1920s, further demonstrating Gummer is full of shit. Gummer's grandfather was almost 12 years older than Jack Toko, and lived in different cities, so they did not grow up together, go to school together, blah blah blah. And he knows this. He's a lying piece of shit. And he knows he's a lying piece of shit.
And then what happens is, inevitably, I get the same 2 or 3 or 4 trolls. They go on there and go, he's a liar, he's lying, he's making this up, he can't prove it. It's super absurd. And really, what I wanted to do is just, go back and tell a couple stories about my life.
Once upon a time, I talked shit and threatened the underboss of the Detroit mob.
So the underboss of the Detroit Mafia was a dude named Tony Zarelli.
Tony's last name is Zarilli, not Zarelli, but Gummy wouldn't know that because he didn't know him and never met him. Let's continue.
Friends with my grandpa. My grandpa or grandparents would send me to get food. He had a place called Spaghetti Palace, and they'd send me up there to get food, and they'd say, go see Tony when you're there. Tell him I said hi. I said, hey. I extorted this guy, a deli owner in Hamtramck. Sent some guys in there to trash the place, and then threatened to kill this guy who owned it. And then these black dudes, and I sent them in again to do it, trash the place. I give them $50. And they go in there and throw everything around, crash, bang, bang, threaten to kill him. And then the third time, I happen to be in there, getting a sandwich in Hamtramck, this little hamlet inside of Detroit. And they come in there, hey, start barking. I pull up my pistol. I said, hey, motherfucker, this is my boy. Messing with my friend. This is a friend of mine. Get the frick out of here. I'll blow your effing head off. And they're like, all right, my bad. And they turn around and run. I kick one right in the ass. And they run out of there. Then I turn to the deli owner and say, hey, man, you having a problem with these guys? Let me know. Give me $500 a week. I'll make sure nobody bothers you. Well, it turns out that deli owner had a camera, and he was already paying a guy protection money. He showed that person, who was a member of Tony Zarelli's crew, apparently. One of them recognized me and said, I know who that is. That's Pete Tokel's nephew, Sal Tokel's nephew. So I get a call from my grandpa, and he says, hey, listen, go up to Spaghetti Palace, go see Tony, he wants to see you. I said, I'll probably picking up food or what, I don't know what the frick it is. So I walk in there, and it's Tony Giacalone, a heavyset dude who I think was Tony's driver, maybe bodyguard, and one other person. It might have been Frank Bomarito. I don't know. But I come walking in, and the funny thing is when I walked in, this is really funny, just to be funny because I'm a cocky, stupid kid. When I walked in, the fat dude was sitting by the door, and then they shut the door. And I look at the fat dude by the door, and I go, Tony, this is the only guy stopping me from getting you? Like, being funny, because they were all in there trying to look cool in front of Tony Jack and all these other guys. So I said, what's this? This is your bodyguard? This is the only guy stopping me from coming in here to get you? And he goes, sit down. And they shut the door and lock it, just like in Bronx Tale, and they locked the door. And right away, I thought that was kind of weird. They said, what's up with you and this guy in Hamtramck? Pollock is what he said. What's up with the Pollock in Hamtramck? What are you talking about? You freaking shaking him down. I said, yeah, so what? He's like, he's under RIGs. I said, what the frick is that? He's like, he's under us, our protection. He's with us. I said, I didn't know that. And like, yeah, well, because you didn't ask. I said, what, I got to ask? Anytime I want to try and make a buck around here, I got to ask? He says, yeah, that's how it works. And in my mind, I'm like, F you, mother effer. I'm not in the mob. I'm not a mobster. I'm not in the mafia. I don't give a shit about you and your punk ass rules, man. F you. That's how I saw them. I literally saw them as like, fuck you, man. You ain't got no pull on me. I'll do what the frick I want. And that's when he says, you can't beat everybody with these. One day, someone's going to come with one of these. And then what are you going to do? And I said, well, it's a good thing I got one too. And I pulled up my shirt, showed the pistol. I said, it's a good thing I got one too. And I say, and I'm a good shot. So, they better get me, because if they don't, I'm going to get them. And then I'm going to go find who sent them, and I'm going to get them too.
Bullshit. This was the Spaghetti Palace, which was owned by reputed Detroit underboss Anthony Zarilli. It closed in 1993, when Gummy was about 20 years old. He never met Tony Zarilli or Tony Giacalone there, because he never met them. Period. To be very clear, Tony Zarilli and Tony Giacalone were the number 2 and number 4 men in the Detroit mob's hierarchy, and Tony Giacalone is the number 1 suspect in the Jimmy Hoffa disappearance, so we are talking about 2 very dangerous, high-level mobsters who would never meet with some scum bum and non-entity like Lindbloom, not to mention he had zero to do with anyone in the Detroit mob in the first place. And they definitely wouldn't ever put up with some disrespectful asswipe talking trash and threatening them. Look at this mob dweeb, playing make-believe gangster even back then. And this is what we are supposed to believe shit-talked the underboss of the Detroit mob. This may well be his most ridiculous line of bullshit he's ever spewed. That's probably why he changed the story and the name to some imaginary Detroit wise guy named Pepe.
And then comes walking this dude, Pepe. We believe he's a made guy, and like a high-level mob guy, right? So I just walk over there. I said, Pepe, listen, we got this new construction company, contractors. We're trying to find some work. He says, I got this job. There's a strip mall I'm building, and they're building an extension to it. I need to dig out this old foundation, extend it, da-da-da-da. I'm like, how much? She's like, I'll give you guys 25 grand. So I go back to Pepe and say, a job's done. And he says, yeah, I'll pay you when the job's done. I'm like, he's like, no, when the mall's done. What do you mean? You didn't say that. He said, I told you when the job's done. And I say, listen, motherfucker, you're going to pay me my money, man. He's like, if you don't, I'm going to come back and burn this motherfucker down and put a bullet in your ass. And he's like, oh, you think you're a tough guy, huh? He's like, yeah, somebody's going to come with this. I raise my shirt. I go, I got one too. They better be a good shot.
Sounds familiar because it's the same bullshit story he told about Tony Zerilli, Detroit's underboss. He's a lying fucking clown.
You can't beat everybody with these. One day, someone's going to come with one of these.
And these geeks will literally go back and get a clip and go, look, here he says his name was Tony, but here he says his name was Frankie. And I'm like, dude, you're insane, man.
These fairy tales just further prove that Gummer Lindbloom is YouTube's biggest mob wannabe and mob dork, and the most prolific liar and bullshit artist on YouTube, with real and legitimate mental issues. The guy's a fucking nut and a pathological lying scumbag with zero redeeming qualities who has been completely exposed as such. Gummer is like a performer at a circus freak show now, where people go to watch the geek in the pit bite the heads off live chickens. He's just a pathetic and irrelevant sideshow attraction, who everyone laughs at and mocks now. He's the geek in the pit with a chicken head in his mouth.
So, I know it's itching. It always itches when I talk. So, not a cokehead.
Stay tuned for part 2 of this video, where we conclusively dispel, disprove and discredit more of Gummer Lindbloom's lies and fraudulent fables. This video on Alan Gunnar Lindbloom again demonstrates that truth and accuracy is as foreign a concept to him as proper diction, punctuation, spelling and grammar. Nothing he says is the truth, or correct, or backed by any facts or based in any reality. And he lies about the most trivial and inconsequential things. And as long as he continues to scam people and lie and bullshit and dry snitch, especially about anyone allegedly in the Detroit mob, we will continue to hammer on him. Al Clownzo Lindbloom is quite possibly the most prolific liar, bullshit artist and all-around dumbshit that ever started a YouTube channel. Please subscribe to Mobster Chronicles, hit the like button and don't forget to ring the notification bell to receive notifications and updates. Thanks for watching.